The houses of worship are included in phase 1 of reopening the state, but in order for churches, synagogues, and mosques to open, they'll have to follow new regulations. Western Mass News reporter Sabrina Riley spoke with the Springfield Catholic Diocese Bishop Mitchell Rosansky to get answers on how they plan to implement the new changes.
It's a relief that we can be open, that our people can gather again.
The Catholic Diocese of Springfield feels like a weight has been lifted off their shoulders, realizing they can once again worship with their parishioners. They have received the state's new restrictions Sunday morning, and since then have been hard at work implementing them.
We want to look out for the good of all. And so when I read over the guidelines and saw what they prescribe, I think they're very reasonable. It's just that we have to get the personnel in place to be able to fulfill those guidelines so that our people can come to church and be safe.
Part of that increased need for personnel is the requirement to have ushers at all entrances. Additionally, all doors and windows must remain open for a contactless entry and exit while increasing airflow. They'll also have hand sanitizer at all entries and not allow anyone to enter without a mask. Lastly, they will be conscious of seating capacity, as the state is only allowing them to fill their pews to 40% capacity, a requirement the diocese actually requested themselves.
We thought that having a capacity percentage was the best way to be able to open the churches, so that we wouldn't have people who were not obeying the social distancing.
And while the governor's announcement brings a lot of clarity, there are still questions on how certain facets of their worship will operate.
I think we have to look at what are the feasible ways that fit the governor's guidelines in how we can take up the collection, how we will distribute communion. So all of those things we will need to look at and have in place before we open the church.
At this time, it is still unclear when they'll be ready to reopen for Mass, but when the governor's requirements are safely in place, they are eager to welcome parishioners back through their doors. But if you're someone that still doesn't feel safe in churches,
the dispensation from Sunday Mass is still in place for those who fall into the vulnerable categories.
For Western Mass News, I'm Sabrina Riley.
For more coverage on the coronavirus emergency as it develops, log on to our free Western Mass News streaming app.